Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how we can easily transfer an image using tracing paper and transfer this the correct way round so that we can then paint it. So I'm using a number B pencil. You can use a HB standard pencil, but Bs are a little bit softer, you might find that a bit easier. And then I'm going to attach my tracing paper to my image so that it doesn't move. And with a nice sharp pencil, a tip would be to go in with the finest details first, while your pencil's nice and sharp, so that you get a nice crisp edge. And then I use one hand to just keep the tracing paper in place all the way round. And then just slowly fill in the outline of your subject. Now you don't have to press that hard, you can always test a little bit first and make sure it's coming through. But I like to do a firm outline, and then in this example with the robin, just for the feathers and a suggestion of where the red area finishes on the chest, I've just put a few little marks. I haven't filled the whole thing in, it's just there as a guideline for me for later. And pay particular attention to very fine details like the feet to make sure you get the angles. Make sure you outline these completely, and the little nails as well, so that you get the angles correct. And then go around the tail. And you can see with my left hand I'm holding the paper all the time to make sure that it doesn't move. And then filling in the branch. And then if you lift it up, you can just double check that you've got everything in that you want to. Now I'm keeping this quite simple, and then moving your reference picture to one side, turn over your tracing paper. Now you can use a bit more masking tape here if you want to hold it in place, and then what I want you to do is to go over all of your pencil lines once more. Just take your time and make sure you have all of those lines in place. If you're doing quite a fine subject, it's a good idea to resharpen your pencil as well, depending on how hard you're pressing. If you feel it's getting a bit blunt, take the time to sharpen it, because you want to make sure you get those sharp little lines and you've got all the definition there. Like these two little lines here, you want to make sure that they're where they want to be. Now you can turn your paper around and you can have it upside down if it means you can reach things and you get the angle better. As long as you fill in all of the lines, just move your paper around where it's most comfortable for you to follow the lines. Now you can feel free to fast forward this bit if you've got the gist, but I've left it running so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. Okay, so sharpening your pencil again, you're then going to move over to your paper where you're going to paint your picture, and then you turn your tracing paper around again and put it into the position you want it. And then be careful not to put masking fluid onto your watercolour paper, because the residue will leave a residue on your paper, and when you paint over that it can go a little bit funny. So start with a small area like I just did the eye, and then just quickly flip your paper up so that you can check that you are transferring and that it's working before you get too far. Just double check, and what you're checking for here is that you're pressing hard enough. And that will give you an indication. So just do a little bit and then test it to make sure. Otherwise you might end up tracing the whole thing, lifting it up, and it's not hard enough and you haven't got the pencil marks and you have to do it all over again. So just periodically, just check, lift your paper up, make sure you're happy that it's transferring nicely. And again, you don't want to go too hard either, because you're going to leave an indent into your paper. So it's somewhere in between. You want to press hard enough that you get the mark, but not so hard that you're causing a real indent into your paper, because when you paint over it, that mark will be there. And if you wanted to rub it out and move it for any reason, then that would be a bit more problematic. So just a nice medium pressure on your pencil is just right. And you'll be able to see through it just to readjust, make sure you've got it in the right place. Before you move on, I always hold it down, make sure it's not moving, and then start again and fill in any last remaining marks. Now you can see clearer here why I just did a few little guidelines for the robin. I don't want all those red areas marked in pencil. I don't want pencil there at all, really. That's just a visual guide for me, and I will rub those out a little bit later so that I can only just see where I'm going. Whereas something with a branch, you can press a little bit harder here and leave a nice strong mark, because you're going to be painting that in quite solid. Okay, so now I'm happy that I've got my picture transferred. It's the right way round. And now what I'm going to do is use a little putty eraser, and I'm going to ever so gently go around my pencil marks and just take off anything that's a little bit too bold, because we want nice soft pencil marks. You want to be able to just see, but you don't want anything too bright. Now what I'm doing here, I'm looking at the reference picture, and I've realised there's a little line above his eye where the colours of the feathers change, and I just want to make a little reminder for myself here. So I'm putting in some pencil marks just as another guideline, so that I can clearly see when I come to paint it where I need to change from the red to the brown feathers. And I'm just going over the eye as well to make sure that I've got that nice and clear. So it's not cheating to use tracing paper. It's a way to get from A to B. It's helping you to put the picture on your paper, but you are doing some drawing as well, because you're doing the little finishing touches here. It's like the feet. Just want to make sure I really know where I'm going when the paintbrush comes out. So take the time to put those little details in, make sure you can see the little claws, and then it's going to make your painting a little bit easier to do. And there we are. And then just stand back and make sure that you're happy, you can see everything, and again just remove any unwanted pencil marks. Now I wanted to take away the harsh edge of the branch, so I'm just rubbing out the sides here, and I'm just sort of wiggling my pencil a little bit, because I want to make it look like it's got snow on it. So I don't want a harsh line. So I'm just making that a little bit wobbly. And this is where you can make any adjustments like this to your painting. I mean, I need to add a scarf onto my robin, which he clearly doesn't have at the moment. So that's where your extra drawing will come in if there's little things that you want to change. And I'm making a little observation here of the feathers and just making a few little marks to help me as I do the painting. And that's it, you're ready to start painting.